Okay, we're going to do this real quick. They say do not put the O inside of God. I designed it square, or I can design it as the skull bone. The skull bones are single lines, meaning the inside of the line. To do this to the outside of the line, I'm going to have to draw all the way around this, taking up much more space, as you can see here. See this? This is the full design. These are only part designs. I need this area space. Do you see the way the J is inside of this? The letter here is 7. The letter here is 4. The 4th of July, it also stands for Jesus, time, and cross, because those are the 3 words that go with 47. At the same time, when you multiply it and add it, okay, it equals to 39, and the minus equals to 17. This tells you sky and Saturn. This is your stand on 17 Q. The 1 inside the cube will ignite 6, creating the only 7. This is just basic. We're just learning. I'm just learning to take things apart. I like to multiply everything by 3 because that's what pi is all about. When I multiply the ARY in January or February, the AR together is 19. The Y alone is 25. 3 times 25, 75. 3 times 19, 57. 57, 75, or 77 times 75. 77 is Jesus. 7 and 7 is 14. 1 and 4 is 5. Cinco de Enero. We're in the year right now. In 5775, there's 225 more years before you reach the year 6000 of the 6th day of the creation of man. 225, 22 for the letter of V. The reverse is 5 for the energy in life, because V in French means life. 2 and 2 is 4, 4 and 5, life in the foxhole of the sun. January, 90, 10 by 9. All zeros equal to 6. I'll explain it another time. AR is 19 plus 25, area space equaling to 44, and also will revert to phi. They have phi in January, they have phi in February. Look at that, February, 96 rotation. So in January, you're missing the 6. They say the 6 is for man ignited through the one spirit. See the 9, if I have a dice cube over here, the 0 goes all the way around the 1, which tells me that there's actually 9 areas per side. There's 9 areas per side. You can figure it out yourself, but we never use more than 6. And at the most, it's 6 ignited by 1. Every other dice, this 5, will ignite this side. All the sides will be 5, and only 6 and 1 will be 7, because it's the only one. If this dice was made out of a mirror, you would be able to see right through it. So it says 5775. In fact, it says 55, 7, 7, 5, 5. 5 and 5 is 1. 7 and 7 is 14. 1 and 4 is 5. 5 and 5 is 1. 1, 5, 1. Numeric value, institution, shows me this number, and that is Mars. And if you multiply it, you end up with 5 times 1, 5 plus 1 equals 6 and 5. And in the game of craps, the game of the 7th gate with 2 dice, they're always saying yo 11, meaning student or the orphan child, because on the roulette wheel, there's an area space that shows 5775. Look it up in the single 0 and you will see an area space that will add up to 57 and an area space that will add up to 75. 5 and 7, 12. 1 and 2 is 3. 33 for the word mass. March is number 43. Gold and silver. Gold is 38. 3 by 8. 3 plus 8, 35. Silver, 8 by 5, 40. 8 plus 5, 13, 53. 88 represents the word purple, and to create purple, you need red and blue. Now we're going to go on to this side of the book. And what I'm going to say right now is the month of April is the 4th month. Look at that. Jesus, time, 4th of July. But it happens again. The 16th, 1 and 6 is 7, and the 25th, 2 and 5 is 7. And it happens again inside the cycle of the zodiac. Because inside the cycle of the zodiac, 25th day, we go right into the next month of May, where the 34th day, which is DC, the 34th day, which would be the 4th day of May, which would be DC. Do you follow what I'm saying? The 4th of May will become DC because we run the zodiac into the next days of the month. So add on 9 more for here equals to 34 DC. DC is the numbers. It will create the one spirit. The one spirit, because 3 times 4, 3 plus 4 is 7 and 12, 19. It's very, very confusing, this whole thing. In May, in this month, we have Jesus. We have time. In this month, we have the moon. 5 and 7 is the moon, and it happens 3 times. In June, and again, it's going to happen. We're going to do it in every month. The spirit of 76, and this will give us our freedom of 55 in moon because of what happens, the multiplication in here. What happens when we multiply out here? Here we end up with 7 by 4, 7 plus 4 equals 39, telling me the sky, and stand on 17, which is the Q. 1 and 7. 1 and 7, 1 times 7, 1 plus 7, will give you an equation that will tell us another story. Every single one of these will tell us a story. This one will now reflect this one. 5 times 7, 35. 5 and 5 is 10. 3 and 7 is 10. That's going to tell me how we get the one spirit through the moon. 5 and 7 is 12, and we total 47. All of a sudden, May equals to April. The spirit of 76 will give us a straight. 7 times 6, 42. 7 plus 6, 13 is 55. If we minus it, I end up with 29. And that is going to give me the birth. There's a whole lot of equations that come here because the birth will show up over here. How does the birth show up over here? Well, in the equation of 6 times 5 and 6 plus 5 equals to 30, equals to 11, equals to a total of 41, equals to a total of 19. 30 plus 11 is 41. 30 minus 11 is 19. That 19 was created by number 43. This is very, very confusing for a lot of people. Even for me, it's confusing because I don't know the big picture, only the small picture of how the numbers tie together. Now, every time you see a 0, you have to add a 6. That means that 41, which is now DNA, and the sun, and your birth. 1 times 4, 1 plus 4 is 5 and 4, numeric value for fox and sun. Fox was used during the wartime as a trench they had dug out to hide themselves from the enemy, not to get fired on. 19 is the word for spirit, which is created by numeric value 4 and 3, which is created from 1 and 3, and 1 and 3 is what brings man to be man, and that's that I am who I am. In July 7th, okay? July 7th and July, I like to actually go back to and use different numbers. I like to use 4, 13, 22, and 31 in July. For that reason is because the 4th of July, right, the spirit of 76 is on the 4th of July, the 13th of July, 1 and 3 is 4, 22nd of July, 2 and 2 is 4, and the 31st of July. This is for life. And again, we have Jesus, we have Christ, and we have Jesus. And we have all these other numbers which are going to tell us more stories. 1 times 7, 1 plus 7, we now have in August. G and H, the silent G and H, gateway to the heavens. To create it, 1 times 7, Q is what creates this gateway. And Q is what creates this, 1 times 7, 1 plus 7. The 17th letter, 1 and 7 equals to 8. There's your 8. 1 times 7 equals to 7. As well as I like to, again, bring back the 4, the 13, and the 22nd, and the 31st. I like to use, in fact, the number 4 is 1, 2, 3, and then the 4 is for your leap year, and then 1, 2, 3 again. So the 4 is in the center. 8 and 4 meaning Pluto. 8 and 4 meaning the sun. When you get to September, you now have the birth in the gateway. So now we can use this, or we can also go to 4 and 13. When you have 9 and 4, you have your gateway in Uranus, the 7th planet. As well, we have to understand where that gateway comes from, because there's a whole lot of more numbers that run down here. In September, we have 103. 103 is, and 103, if I wanted to bring 2 planets together, I would bring Earth, number 52, and Mars, number 51. And as well as the 613 laws of Moses would infiltrate this, because all zeros will equal to 6, because it's a passing. This dice cube will never have more than 6 this way or 6 this way, and it is ignited by 1. I'm going to see if I can show you one piece that I did yesterday. Just give me a second over here. 6, 6, 6, and 6. These are our different ways for the star 6. I'll never use 8. You need an exit and an entry, and you need area space. Since there is total here, we need 360. I will use over here and over here. How many spaces? I got one here is 2, and I got 4 spaces here. So let's say I have 8 spaces. So each space would be 45. So I'm going to take 90 space here, and a 90 space here, and a 45 here, and a 45 here, and a 45 here, and a 45 here. Not sure what they all mean, but the 45 space talks about the passage in the sun. And here's my 45 space over here, and here's my 45 space over here. I like to use that. And here's my 45 space over here. And here's the 45 space, and here's the 45 space here and here. And this design is, you see the W that ends up with this, and then the V on the top. Not going to get into that too deep because I'm also a little still confused about many things that I talk about. We have December, which means day of Earth. The total for December, okay, which starts off with the sun and the energy, 535, 575, the sun and the energy. And again, 85, and the matrix shows up in December. The sun shows up in November, your DNA, through Mars and life, and the orange sun. When 5 and 13 show up together, when the EM shows up together, that's the 5 and the 13. If you're playing the game of pool, the 5 and the 13 are both orange, 1 on each side. 13, 1 and 3 is 4, 5 and 4 equaling to the foxhole in the sun. Your 8 and 9 is your H and your I, or I like to say it can also be the wheel, if you want to look at it, because here is your I, and then here is your H. So you can almost look at it as the wheel, if you want. Here is the house coming in July. In June, I like to talk about this as being number 73. June, something to do with 7 times 3, 21. 7 plus 3 is 10. The cube, when you add it up, it is 21. How do we create 10 in the cube? It is either 6 and 4, or it is 5 and 5. 5 and 5 gives you the odds. I'm not sure what the odds are, but the odds are in the game of craps, and it'll tell you a different story. In the month of May, 13, 14, 39, it tells you the skies of Saturn, communication of the cat. In Venus, why in Venus? Because 3 letters. All letters have a reverse of 27. So if I multiply 3 times 27 is 81, that means the reverse of 39 will be 42. 42 represents the word 5. It represents the word 9. It also creates 2 times 4, 2 plus 4, 6 and 8, which means the separation of the sevens of man inside the house. The word house is number 68. April gives me the birth in 9, the 9 months of birth to the 7th gate. 3, 1, 3, 4, 1, 4. So this tells me the sun system. So there's a whole lot of things that's going on over here. November also tells me about the birth in the red sun. Where does it tell me the birth in the red sun? I'm trying to remember myself. Also, the student is born in the red sun because the reverse, the birth in the sun, because 66, the reverse of my 1 and 1, or 10 and 1, with depending which way you want to look at it, is 66. Do you follow me so far? This is the side roads, which was switched over, the highway Interstate 80. Interstate 80, okay, which is all zeros equal to 6. Now it's, for some reason, equals to the house. We can no longer drive the 66, which also represents woman, 28 plus 38. 38 equaling to W and O. 15 and 23. Beta creation in Mars. 38 also represents the word gold. 6 by 6 is 36 and 13 equaling to 49, which is also represented by 7 by 7 Christ. It also means green for go and Uranus. 94, the reverse, split in half, is 47 times 2 equals to 94 reverse. So you're now talking time and Jesus. There's just a whole bunch of manipulations of the numbers in each particular group. October is the 10th month. And if we start the 10th month, and like I like to use 7, 16, 25, 16 representing the half-life, 25 representing the earth or the split, because the 25th letter is a split. The reverse of 25 is 2, so it's split of the bait house. Now, when you look at this dice cube, why I say it's the half-life is because I don't need this area over here to create the measurement of my cube. And when you're measuring a cube, this will be on the cross. And the single here, the single area that we can use will create my multiplication over here. I cannot go through the center unless I create 2 of them and find a happy medium, drawing a line, and then finding my dot where X marks the spot over here. But it's not an X, and it's an addition sign again over here. My X is here, my X is here. I'm not sure what else I should mention. I know I went over a whole lot. In June, you have the gates of the heaven, the moon, the Mars, and Earth. All this comes together in June. The gates of heaven, moon, Mars, and the Earth. Have you ever looked at the moon when it's white? It's perspiring. The moon, to turn white, you need water to turn white with mist, and everything turns white. And that's what I see inside of here. The Liberty, and it turns white like a ghost, the moon in June, and it's very white tonight. So I like to use, where was my last one? In October. If all zeros equal 6, October ends up to be July. As well, it ends up to be January if 1 plus 0 equals 1. And if that happens in October, again, we get the 17th, we stand, and we're back on Q one more time. So there's a whole bunch of manipulations to do and discussions. Because I'm alone, I only can give you pieces in part. So that means on October 4th, since 1 and 0 equals 6, on October 4th, again, we have the 4th of July in October. Otherwise, we end up with 1 over here. And on the 4th of October, it's the DNA birth inside the sun. Because 1 times 4, 1 plus 4, equals to 5 and 4, and the word sun equals to 54, and the word fox equals to 45. The F is the 6th letter, the O is the 15th letter, the X, XOXO, I love you, the 24th letter, 2 and 4, 6, 1 and 5, 6, 666. Now, this is another thing I wanted to show you. Now, when we split up this angle between here and here, that 90 degree, when we want to split up this area over here, this area in the center on the bottom is 216, 225, and 234. 234 is your vibration on one side. 216 is the birth and the size of the diameter of the moon. I think that's in kilometers. And 225 is life and energy right over here. And it's on all 4 sides. Do you follow where I'm going with this? My 90-degree angle split at 45, equaling to the word sun, fox, and pass. 234 is one angle. Why do I go by 9? Because it's 9 per section. That's the way it is. And then on the line, right, would be your 0. Right? You know that when you add up 1, if you would say 0, I would say 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equals 21. Anyways, I don't want to get into anything else. I think this video is way too long. What is this design over here? This is your design of 2. Here's my loop. That's my 2. I can do my 2 that way. I can turn it sideways. Let me see if I can do that. Anyways, I don't know where I'm going with this. There's just a whole bunch of things. There's a single digit. Let's move this over just 1 second. There's also a single digit count. Let's do the easy month of May. The single digit count is the 13th letter. 1 and 3 is 4, and 1 is 5, and 7 is 12. The reverse of this, okay, would be 999, because the reverse is 999. The 1 and 3 is 4, right? The reverse of that is 9. So since it's 4, you have 5. Since it's 1, you have 8. You have 5 and 8 is 13. Here you have 7, so you have 2. You have a total of 15. There's your 27 reverse, like I said, to the single count. See, a single letter, the reverse alphabet is 1 and 26, equaling to 27. But a single letter digit to the single count is maximized at 9. Each letter goes to a maximum of 9. I don't remember how I came up with that, but that's the way I have been working it. So if I have the letter I9, then I would have 0. Anyways, everything has to be discussed and going over. Raphael 7286 in a constellation of Pegasus. Are you confused yet? The last piece is this design, and it's an S design, and it's the reflection, your reflection in the parallel world that we live. So this is what numbers say, and thank you for watching this video.